Good day everyone, my name is Nurul Fatin Amira binti Zaha and my metric number is 306755. So today I will be talking about the introduction of traditional costing system in history of activity-based costing development and evolution. A traditional costing system is an accounting method that determines product cost by allocating both direct costs and indirect costs to product or services. Direct costs can be allocated to a specific item or process during the production of goods or service delivery plan. Sometimes it is difficult to determine if an expense should be classified as direct cost or indirect cost. For example, consider legal service when a staff attorney in a large firm works on a particular project for a client. His salary, will be paid whether the attorney was on a dedicated project or working with several legal teams simultaneously, is typically an indirect expense. However, any legal briefs prepared and printed for a particular client or lawsuit would be considered direct costs. Meanwhile, the indirect costs are expenses necessary to operate an organization or business as a whole. The cost item cannot be singularly assigned to any service, product, distribution channel, or department. Example of indirect costs is cost of heating and cooling a building, electricity for the administration office, and security system. The traditional costing method use an allocation of expense based on the volume of resource during the production of goods. This method typically use machine hour consumed as the basis for estimating cost of production. This is a common costing method used in a situation where the processes are automated and where the direct labor costs are very low and tightly controlled. Besides that, a traditional costing system also depends on calculating overhead rates and applying the rates to a specific variable. Traditional costing method use estimated overhead rates against a cost driver. To sum up, the traditional costing system emerged during the Industrial Revolution, a period marked by labor-intensive manufacturing process. This system allocated overhead costs based on machine hours or direct labor hours, which was suitable when direct labor constitute a significant portion of total production costs. However, as manufacturing process evolved, this method became less effective in accurately assigning costs. Next part is limitation in accurately allocating overhead costs, especially in complex manufacturing environment. Traditional costing methods have limitations such as lack of accuracy, inability to handle complexity, and potential for cost distortion. Traditional costing methods such as absorption costing and job order costing have been widely used for many years. However, they have several limitations that can affect the accuracy and usefulness the cost information that they provide. One of the main limitations is that they can often allocate overhead costs based on a single volume-based cost driver such as direct labor hours or machine hours. This can result in accurate cost allocations, especially in companies where overhead costs are a significant portion of total costs and where different products or services used. Another limitation of traditional costing method is that they may be able to handle the complexity of modern manufacturing service and environments. Today's business often have diverse product line, complex production process, and a wide range of activity that generate overhead costs. Traditional costing method may not be able to accurately capture the cost of these activities and allocate them to a product or service in a way that reflect their actual resource usage. Furthermore, traditional costing method can potentially lead to cost distortions. This is because they tend to allocate more overhead costs to high volume products or service, which may not actually consume more resource. This can result in overcosting and high volume products and undercosting of low volume products, that leading to incorrect pricing decision and potentially harming the company profitability. Therefore, with advancement in technology and automation, overhead costs increase and the proportion of direct labor costs decrease. Traditional costing method relying on a single cost driver often lead to inaccurate product costing, especially in complex production production environments. This misallocation could be result in cross-subsidization, where some product under cost, leading to disparate profitability analysis and suboptimal decision making. And I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Now let's continue our discussion about activity-based costing, or ABC for short. ABC is considered one of the most important innovations in management accounting over the last 20 years. Since its creation, many scholars, especially in English-speaking countries, have worked on developing specific applications and improvements to make ABC even more useful for business. In France, ABC and its closely related concept, activity-based management or ABM, have become quite well known. However, while ABC has been widely studied, many of new development and extensions based on ABC are still not very familiar to most people. To understand ABC better, let's look at where it's come from. The ABC method was first developed in the United States during the 1980s by two Harvard professors, which is Robert Kaplan and Robin Cooper. They designed ABC as a more detailed and refined system for tracking costs in a business. One of the main ideas behind ABC is that it allows companies to clarify more costs as direct costs and to create smaller, more specific group of indirect costs called cost pool. Instead of lumping all indirect costs together, ABC breaks them down into activities, for example like machine setup, inspection or customer support. By identifying this activity and their specific costs, ABC provide a more accurate way to assign costs to product, service or department. Let's step back for a moment and clarify what direct and indirect costs are. Direct costs are easy to identify because they are connected to a specific job or product. For example, in a computer repair business, the part used for a fix and technician's time spent on the repair are direct costs. You can link this cost to a job directly. On the other hand, indirect costs can be more tricky because they support the whole company and not tied to just one product or job. This includes things like customer service, equipment maintenance, rent and insurance. Since this cost benefits multiple parts of the business, figuring out a fair way to divide them among different jobs or a product can be more complicated. Here is the problem. Traditional costing doesn't always match what really happened in the business. Imagine two repair jobs that both take the same amount of time. If you assign overhead costs based on time, you will give both jobs the same share of indirect costs. However, one of these jobs might require a lot of expensive equipment, while the other might not. Treating this job as if they cost the same leads to inaccurate cost information. This mismatch can cause serious problems. For example, you might think a job is profitable when it's actually costing you money, or you might cut a product line because it seems unprofitable even though it's really helping over share cost. That's when Kaplan and Cooper introduced activity-based costing or ABC. ABC does something different. Instead of just using simple average to spread costs, it's focused on the actual activity that drive those costs. For example, if one product requires more testing, use more equipment or need more customer support, ABC assign a bigger portion of the overhead cost to that product. Meanwhile, product or job that use fewer resources get assigned less overhead. By doing this, ABC gives much clearer and more accurate picture of the true cost of each job or product. This means you can see which products are actually profitable and which might be quietly draining your resources without you realize. And this clarify is powerful. Activity-based costing help managers make smarter decisions about their business. You can better decide which product to keep, where need to cut back, and how to price your product fairly so that you can cover all your costs and still make a profit.
Next, I'd like to walk you through the concept and principle of ABC and accounting innovation that reshape how organizations understand their causes. Let's begin with a quick historical context. Before the 1980s, most companies relied heavily on traditional costing system. This system used broad average to allocate overhead, typically using just one or two cost drivers like direct labor hours or machine hours. In simpler manufacturing environments, this worked just fine. But as industries evolved, products diversified, and overhead costs grew more complex, this volume-based method started producing misleading cost information. In other words, products that use fewer resources could be overcosted, while complex, resource-intensive products could be undercosted. In response to these limitations, activity-based costing was developed in the mid-1980s. ABC was introduced as a more refined method, one that focused on the activities that drive costs rather than relying on production volume alone. It was designed to trace overhead and indirect costs more accurately to products and services, helping managers make better decisions. According to accountinginsights.org, ABC gained traction because it emphasized transparency and real resource consumption rather than arbitrary allocations. Let's now break down the core principle of ABC. First, activities as cost drivers. At the heart of ABC is the concept of activities. Every organization performs activities like processing purchase orders, setting up machines, inspecting products, or handling customer service requests. Each of these activities consumes resources. ABC identifies these activities as the real cost drivers. Instead of just spreading costs based on labor hours, ABC assigns costs based on how much of each activity a product or service consumes. So if a product A requires 10 setup and product B only 2, product A will receive a higher portion of the setup cost because it truly drives more cost. Second, cost allocation based on actual resource use. Next, ABC allocates costs based on actual consumption of resources, not on average or estimates. It traces indirect costs to activities and then from activities to cost objects like products or customers. This gives a much more accurate view of what each output really costs the business. This is especially helpful in service industries or complex manufacturing where overhead makes up a large portion of total costs. For example, in a bank, opening a new account may consume very different resources than processing a loan, and ABC helps recognize those differences. The shift from volume-based to activity-based costing. This brings us to the third point, the shift in costing logic. Traditional systems assumes that cost increases with volume. The more you produce, the more it costs. But ABC reveals that many overhead costs are not volume-driven. They are activity-driven. Think of engineering changes, quality checks, or customer interaction. This can vary widely between products even if they are produced in similar quantities. ABC recognizes that complexity, not just volume, drives costs. This shift allows companies to make better decisions about pricing, product mix, outsourcing, and efficiency improvements. Now let's move on to the advantages and disadvantages of ABC. One of the most significant advantages of activity-based costing is that it enhances the accuracy of cost information. Because ABC traces costs directly to the activities that generate them, it avoids that misleading averages that occur in traditional costing systems. This leads to a more realistic and detailed understanding of product, service, or customer costs. Another major benefit is improved decision-making. With more accurate data, managers can confidently assess the profitability of the individual products or services, identify high-cost areas, and develop strategies that are more aligned with actual resource usage. In addition, ABC supports operational improvement by highlighting non-value-adding activities. By identifying inefficiency and unnecessary processes, organizations are better equipped to reduce waste and improve overall performance. Disadvantages of ABC. Despite its benefits, ABC does come with several challenges. First, it can be complex to implement since it requires a detailed analysis of all activities within an organization. The process can be time-consuming and resource-intensive. Another drawback is the cost of implementation. Setting up an ABC system often involves investing in new software, data collection tools, and employee training, which may not be financially feasible for small or resource-constrained organizations. Lastly, organizations may encounter resistance to change when transitioning from traditional methods to ABC. Employees and managers may feel uncomfortable with the new insight ABC provides, especially if it reveals that certain products or customers are less profitable than previously assumed, and this can create internal pushback during the implementation phase. In conclusion, the evolution of activity-based costing marks a pivotal shift in accounting from broad assumptions to data-driven precision. By focusing on activities as cost drivers and allocating costs based on actual resource use, ABC offers a more meaningful way to understand cost behavior. It enables businesses to move beyond volume-based logic and gain visibility into what really drives their costs. And although it comes with complexity, the insights it delivers can lead to smarter strategies and sustainable advantages.
Good day everyone. My name is Tanushri BKAMK2013 from Group 6. My metric number is 307259. Today, I will discuss the evolution and impact of activity-based costing, ABC, focusing on its adoption in Malaysia and how it has transformed decision-making and cost control across various industries. Activity-based costing emerged in the late 1980s as a response to the limitation of traditional costing methods in manufacturing. Traditional systems often allocated overhead costs uniformly, which could distort product cost information. ABC addressed this by assigning costs to specific activities, providing a more accurate reflection of resource consumption. While activity-based costing ABC initially gained traction in the manufacturing sector, its core principles soon proved highly valuable across a variety of other industries. At its heart, ABC focuses on identifying and assigning costs to specific activities, allowing organizations to understand how resources are consumed throughout the operation. This methodology became particularly relevant to service industries, healthcare providers, and government agencies sectors characterized by complex workflows, high volumes of indirect costs, and increasing demand for transparency and efficiency. In the service industry, where intangible outputs dominate and overheads can be substantial, ABC helps managers trace the cost of delivering individual services, enabling more accurate pricing, better budgeting, and clearer performance evaluation. Healthcare institutions benefit similarly using ABC to analyze the true cost of medical procedures, administrative tasks, and patient care activities. This enables hospitals to identify high-cost services, optimize the use of resources, and enhance service delivery. Government agencies too have embraced ABC to strengthen financial accountability. With public scrutiny and limited budgets, ABC allows departments to evaluate how taxpayer funds are spent and prioritize funding for the most impactful programs. Across these sectors, ABC has evolved from a manufacturing cost tool to a strategic system for managing complexity and improving decision-making. In Malaysia, the adoption of activity-based costing, ABC, has been progressively expanding across multiple sectors, beginning with the manufacturing industry. A study focusing on Malaysian small and medium-sized enterprises (SMEs) revealed that although only 70% of manufacturing firms had implemented ABC, those that did reported significant benefits. These benefits were especially evident in companies with complex production processes where traditional costing methods fail to capture the true cost of operations. The study highlighted that successful implementation often depended on strong support from top management, which helped overcome initial resistance and provided the necessary resources for the system to function efficiently. The telecommunications sector has also explored ABC adoption, with one case study involving a Malaysian company referred to as XYZ. This company experienced a moderate level of success in applying ABC principles. The research emphasized that for ABC to yield positive outcomes, there must be clear strategic alignment, well-defined objectives, and active backing from leadership. However, the implementation was not without its challenges. Issues such as the complexity of the ABC system and resistance from employees, particularly due to changes in routine practices, were noted as barriers that needed to be addressed for ABC to be fully embraced. ABC has found use in Malaysia's public sector in addition to the commercial sector. ABC was put into place by Malaysia's Accountant General's Department as part of campaign to improve financial transparency and maximize resource allocation. The agency wanted to improve accountability in the use of public funds and make better decisions by implementing this system. This use of ABC demonstrates how it can be used to enhance governance and service delivery in government institutions in addition to being a costing tool. Activity-based costing has evolved from manufacturing-centric tool to a versatile system applicable across various sectors. In Malaysia, its adoption was enabled organizations to gain deeper insights into their operations, leading to more informed decision-making and efficient resources utilization.
Provide business with a clear understanding of their cost structures and help them make more informed decisions. Secondly, how can ABC develop into ABM? As ABC gained traction, it evolved into what we now call activity-based management or ABM. While ABC provides insight into cost, ABM takes it as a step further by using that information to improve business process and enhance its profitability. The shift from activity-based costing to activity-based management emphasizes not just cost allocation, but also the strategic use of cost information to drive business decisions. By analyzing cost drivers, organizations can identify non-value integration of activity-based management with enterprise resource planning, called ERP, system has become more sophisticated. Modern systems have incorporated activity-based costing methodologies, allowing organizations to track costs in real time across various departments. Modern ERP systems offer real-time data analytics, allowing organizations to monitor their activities and cost continuously. This integration facilitates better resource allocation and operational efficiency by providing comprehensive insight into cost drivers. This capability enables business staff to respond quickly to the change in the market and operational challenges, enhancing their agility and responsiveness. Activity-based costing and activity-based management provide the frameworks necessary for organizations to align their cost structures with their strategic objective. So, the conclusion is activity-based management is a powerful tool that, when integrated with modern systems like enterprise resource planning, can significantly enhance an organization's efficiency and decision-making capabilities. By focusing on the activities that drive costs and leveraging advanced analytics, business can achieve greater profitability and operational excellence. As we move forward, the continued evolution of technology will further enhance